Hi, so here viewers of Equinoxe Television. It's 6 p.m. by studio clock. Thank you so much for joining us on this edition of the news. We begin right away with our major stories. The 17-year-old boy who was apprehended and locked up at the Newbell prison has been freed. Junior Tarzano, that is his name, he was freed earlier this week after all charges against him were dropped. And today is being observed as the National Orientation Day. What actually is the role of a guidance counselor in schools, and are their roles respected by students as well as pupils in educational institutions in Cameroon? We will be attempting an answer to that question in this edition of the news, so stay with us. Welcome back, viewers, to this edition of the news. We begin right away with this human interest story. I told you a while ago in the headlines that a 17-year-old boy was apprehended and locked up at the Newbell Central Prison has been freed. Junior Tarzano was accused of buying a stolen watch. He was freed with all charges dropped against him. As staffman Smart Njikan Gabriel followed him up from home to school as he resumed school in this report.
Junior Tarzano completes his homework as he prepares for school. The teenager, who was locked up for buying a stolen wristwatch, hasn't been to school for close to 10 days, and his release was a sigh of relief to his dad. I'm so happy. It's by the grace of God. Sincerely, it hasn't been easy for me. This Friday, Equinoxe television crew was at the Esome neighborhood in Logbeso to see Junior Tarzano reunite with mates in school. The only desire for his father is for his son to keep a calm head and pass his exams. Junior Tarzano was arrested last October 3rd, 2022, after he was accused of buying a stolen wristwatch. On October 11, 2022, he will be locked up at the Newbell prison. After spending about 9 days behind bars, Junior Tarzano will be released and all charges against him dropped. This was the first time Junior Tarzano was going to school after his release last October 21, 2022.
And today, October 21, 2022, marks exactly 6 years after the train derailment in Ezeka, which left over 70 people dead and over 500 others injured, and 6 years after no ceremony has been organized to pay homage to the victims. Our reporter Innocent Azen, the report which comes up next, tells us that even the Ezeka hospital, which took care of the victims, has not yet changed. Let's now have his report.
6 years after the Ezeka train derailment that killed scores of persons, this locality in the Nyoankele division of the Central region is still a shadow of itself.
La volonté des populations d'Ezeka était de nous construire un hôpital de référence.
After the accident, the population of Ezeka expected a lot of glories, like total transformation of the Ezeka District Hospital that took charge of victims of that train derailment into a reference hospital.
Une chose est certaine, c'est qu'il nous manque.
Director of the Ezeka District Hospital, Dr. Meka Zhang, says the hospital still lacks adequate equipment to operate smoothly to meet the needs of the patients.
Subvenir ou intervenir.
Since that incident, just a little seemed to have changed, according to Dr. Meka Zhang.
Je dirais que l'hôpital des districts des Ezeka, 6 ans après,
6 years after, the Ezeka District Hospital has learnt a lesson and ameliorated its manner of operating. The hospital continues rendering quality services to the population faithfully.
Le maximum de soins possibles, le maximum de sa chaleur, le maximum de sa disponibilité.
Though the population have been constructed a beautiful looking monument, this to them is useless.
Ce monument ne nous servira à rien. Ça sera toujours soit un café, soit un bar.
According to Basong Daniel, Divisional Delegate of Arts and Culture, the said monument, ordered to be constructed by the President of the Republic, is yet to be inaugurated, but the population can go around to take a look. Apart from the transformation of the Eseka District Hospital to a reference health institution, the population also expect the locality be given good road infrastructures and blessed with other basic social amenities. Above all, organization of a ceremony to pay homage to those who lost their lives in that train derailment.
And now over to these other news lead story. Today has been observed as the National Orientation Day. What actually is the role of guidance counselors in schools, and are their roles being respected by teachers or parents? As well as students, our reporter Lucy Ese made a stop over at some schools here in Douala and now attempts an answer.
Guidance and counseling are important for children. Young minds need guidance to polish their personality. In celebration of the National Guidance and Counseling Day, Titatari Sherifa, a student of Form 4 of the Government Technical School, Akwa, says guidance counselors in their school have impacted her positively.
They also help us in guiding us in our study fields. When we have some problem, they help us.
She, however, adds that her choice of series was being determined by her family.
Mostly it was my auntie that brought the idea of me to do home economics in school. But through the help of my mom, that she's the one sponsoring my schools, she encouraged me that if I do the work, after my study, I can be doing something that will pay me before waiting for a befitting job to come.
While parents on their part say they don't deem it necessary to consult a guidance counselor before selecting a series for their children.
C'est le parent qui choisit ce que l'enfant doit faire dans ses études.
It is the role of a parent to determine the series of a child or what the child should become in future, because looking at the country's situation, things are very difficult. There is hardship. There is no way as a parent you will permit your child who says he or she wants to become a teacher. Just looking at the way teachers complain, the way teachers are treated, lack of salaries, there is just no way a child should be encouraged to become a teacher. It is better to encourage your child to become an electrician or a mechanic rather than being a teacher. Thus, it is a parent's duty to do everything possible for a child to become someone in future.
C'est un devoir du parent.
Following up a student psychologically, Setu Yumandap, a guidance counselor at the Government Bilingual School of New Bell, says parents and guidance have a role to play.
Mais il y a juste ce qu'on appelle un malentendu.
We usually have misunderstanding with parents who don't still understand that everyone has a role to play in the decision taken by a student. As a guidance counselor, we simply help a child. We don't take the child's position. The parent too has to understand that he or she has to accompany this child towards his or her aptitudes. Because we went to EMIA doesn't mean our child too must go to EMIA. What we have to do is to encourage the student to valorize his or her aptitude.
Valuer les aptitudes de l'enfant.
The 20th edition of the National Guidance and Counseling Day had as theme digitalization of the guidance and counseling service offer, the counseling helpline.
And now we talk economy. Owners of small and medium-sized enterprises are complaining that insufficient finances is hindering the development of their enterprises. So the United Nations Development Program groups some local entrepreneurs with the aim of connecting them to potential sponsors. Let's now have more with Immaculate Fogui.
Small and medium-sized enterprises are significant contributors to the country's gross domestic product. Statistics indicate that 90% of enterprises in Cameroon are small companies which employ up to 30% of the population. Despite the immense contribution to the country's economy, the small and medium-sized enterprise sector continues to face challenges that threatens its existence, with some forced to shut down.
Promoter of Sapgo, which is an agro-industry, because we produce instant ginger tea mixed with honey. The first difficulty is all about finance, because we actually have the market, we master what we do because we have been selling for about 4 years, and today we need to expand our market and we need funds to do that. So to acquire new equipment, also to have top experts to coach us in order to better manage our company.
I'm the founder of Bottle Furniture Style. I come today to present the project Bottle Furniture Tank, which is the tank to green aquaculture, because many material used to produce fish come outside the country. The project is to on the local market. The project issues on the recycling of the waste, the bottle waste. The name of the project is Bottle Tank.
In order to accelerate local SMEs for more inclusive and sustainable growth, the United Nations Development Programme UNDP organized a platform bringing together young entrepreneurs.
We are here today with our Arc Lab Cafe, which is a strategy we are using to connect these young entrepreneurs carrying out innovative projects in the agribusiness sector, connecting them to potential investors and capital providers.
The program is expected to go a long way in enabling these young startups to have a strong economic grip that can help their companies stand the test of time.
And in health, in Douala, several women are being held at the Lakentini Hospital here in Douala because they are unable to pay their hospital bills. More than 10 of them are set to be held in different wards. Some have been there for as long as 6 months after being delivered of their babies. They couldn't pay the hospital bills. As they continue staying there, the bills continue to increase. Speaking to Equinoxe television, those women lamented over the situation which they qualify as inhuman. Some have paid part of their money or their bills requested from them by the hospital, but they have not still been allowed to go home because they have to complete their bills there at the Lakentini Hospital. Those women are sending distress calls to the administration, and the Minister for Public Health had banned the act of holding people hostage in hospitals over unpaid bills. And Equinoxe television got in contact with the administration of the Lakentini Hospital. They refused to respond to our questions on keeping women in the hospital over unpaid bills. And now we still talk health. We move over to the southwest region where kidney patients have complained that insufficient machines for hemodialysis is making their situation worse. They staged a protest demonstration at the governor's office in Buea. Our reporter Martin Jikan Gabriel tells us more.
At the esplanade of the Southwest Regional Governor's Office, hemodialysis patients are having a peaceful demonstration to expose how frustrated they are at their dialysis center in Buea, with messages like "we don't want to die" and "we need machines," just to cite these few. The hemodialysis patients are coming out after waiting for a promise which till date hasn't materialized.
The situation is very precarious. You see, we are overriding a winning horse. The horse that will collapse at the line. That's what is happening with the machines, probably. They are overused. What is elastic? If you overdraw it, it will not go. From Tuesday up till this present day, no person has entered the machine because there is an influx of the machines. I don't know what to say. The language of parts coming, today we've heard of Garwa. Last section when last month was Ngandre. So we are tired with all this, what they are playing. They are very big fake promises. We are sitting like this, we are drowning.
Due to the lack of machines, they sometimes have to stand on a long queue to be dialyzed.
It will collapse at the line. It will look weak. That is what is happening. Apart from sitting for 20 hours before entering a machine, I think it's very punitive to enter a machine in this place. You sit for 20 hours before you enter a machine. We are tired. In fact, I will, on the behalf of the hemodialysis patient, I'm even crying that God should come and take us.
After they were promised by the Secretary General at the Southwest Regional Governor's Office of an immediate solution, they moved to their dialysis center, where the parts of machines has just arrived.
The situation, I say, the solution already don't come.
The solution is already here. It's a big problem in the national territory. The parts are not manufactured in Cameroon, but we have already had the parts and the technician is on it now. The problem is not about the lack of machines, but they are limited. So we try to repair the bad ones. With the parts we've had, some machines will be added to the already existing ones.
So technician don't start work with the machine. They will see how many machines that we try for put them up.
The disgruntled hemodialysis patients also complained that as a result of the lack of machines, their time has been reduced, which is dangerous to them. But the director of the regional hospital of Boya says the time reduction is to save everyone.
3 hours of dialysis 2 times a day is enough. I will not say that it is optimum, but I say that it is enough.
2 people are having the same illness, and we take one person for close to 5 hours, while another is outside in pains. So we arrange in a way that the one outside can also have little time in the machine. It's a strategy for everyone to be in good health. Without that, we can take just 5 per day and send the others away.
Pass for enter machine, pass another person.
Even though the director of the Boya Regional Hospital, Dr. Martin Mukake, has reassured the patients of additional machines after the repair works is over, the patients are praying that the machines will serve them until the long-awaited brand new machines finally arrives Boya.
And we now go with you to discover the center which takes care of children or kids with special needs, that is, children who can barely speak or talk. They are now being lodged by a local community hall, and the director of the center is begging for the local administration to give them a permanent site. Immaculate for Greater Susmo.
From afar, one will think this is an abandoned building, but getting closer, Equinoxe TV team discovers that it is a school for the deaf and dumb. The school is located in Bilonge, Dolatui subdivision. Apart from the fact that grass has invaded the entry, the walls of the building constructed with planks are equally deteriorating. Entering the building, we see pupils who are eager to learn despite their disability. The school head, Dimitril, explains that the building does not belong to the school, but it was rather temporarily given to them by the Bache community. Since its creation in 2010, just 2 teachers have been managing the institution. Dimitril's decision to come up with this initiative is to break the stigma children with such a condition encounter on daily basis. I myself, I am deaf, and this is due to an accident I had when I was in primary 6. Despite my condition, I never dropped out of school. So, upon my graduation, I noticed that there is no deaf and dumb school in my area. So, with the aid of some collaborators, this initiative came into existence. We are trying to change the ideologies of some parents who think because their child is deaf and dumb, they have to stay at home. Another teacher explains that financial constraints is a major challenge they are facing. To teach a deaf and dumb, you need to use images, but we don't have the required equipment that can ease that. These children easily retain what they see. We need a good projector and a new site that can ease the teaching and learning process. I have been teaching here for 10 years. Apart from theoretical studies, these children are equally empowered with skills that can enable them make money while schooling. They are taught basic electricity skills, how to make yogurt, soap, to name but these. The school is in need of financial assistance from the government and persons of goodwill so the education of these pupils can be assured.
And now we take news out of Cameroon. Make a stop over first in neighboring Nigeria, where the police in Nigeria has fired tear gas and water cannon to clear a rally in Lagos, marking the second anniversary of the country's end SARS protest against police brutality and bad governance. The youth-led October 2020 demonstrations in Lagos and elsewhere evolved into the largest anti-government protests in Nigeria's modern history before security forces ended them in a crackdown. Rights groups say at least 10 people were shot dead by security forces on October 20, 2020 at the Lekki toll gate in Lagos, Nigeria. And from Nigeria, we move on to another neighboring country, Chad. In Chad, where a night curfew has been declared in 3 Chadian cities, Jamena, Mundu, Doba, and Kumra, that was announced by the Prime Minister after banned protests were violently repressed. On Thursday, security forces opened fire on demonstrators in the country's 2 largest cities, killing at least 60 people and wounding hundreds. The protesters demanded the ouster of Muhammad Idris Deby Itno, who took over in the wake of his father's assassination months ago. The 38-year-old general formed what he called a unity government following his appointment as head of the transition after a national forum. And now we move over to Guinea-Conakry, where a protest in that country caused the young protesters to clash. That was earlier today with security forces in the Ghanaian capital, Conakry, after a band group called for demonstrations against the country's ruling junta. The National Front for the Defense of the Constitution, which had called the protest, said 5 people had suffered gunshot wounds, one of whom was in critical condition. There was no immediate corroboration of this toll from other sources, and the poor but mineral-rich West African state Guinea-Conakry has been under military government since a September 2021 coup that ousted President Alpha Condé after more than 10 years in power. And viewers, that was what we put together for you on this edition of the news on Equinoxe Television. Thank you so much for always being there. Don't go away. This weekend, our programs continue. Julien Bedbisai will be with you at 8 p.m. for the news in the French language, and Serge Alain Oto will be with you at 7 p.m. for Equinoxe One. Have a beautiful weekend in the company of programs on Equinoxe Television. Bye-bye for now.